Hey, good evening, everybody. Tired Metalhead Weatherman here. Hopefully, everyone's doing well. So, I promised that I was going to do a video, and this one's going to be a little bit more orientated towards the upcoming storm that we're going to be having, more so towards this weekend. It's not going to be as much about severe weather this time around, or so much about heavy rainfall. It's mainly going to be winter orientated. So, snowfall, maybe a little bit of sleet, slight chance of ice, but nothing super crazy there. But nonetheless, here some fresh info for you guys, so make sure you're hitting that like button. If you're new, definitely consider subscribing, and also hit that share button. So without further ado, let's get into things here. And we will talk a little bit about severe weather here. It's not really going to be a dominant topic over the next couple of days here. At best, we're looking at maybe marginal risk. I don't really see any real potential for a slight risk based off what I saw in the upper to mid-level maps. Just not really anything going there, mainly due to large scale ascent kind of being down right now. But like I said, mainly over towards the Gulf Coast was going to be the point of interest. So anywhere from New Orleans all the way even towards just to the west of Tallahassee. I wouldn't be surprised if Tallahassee ended up in it. Even then, it's a marginal risk at best. Maybe a scattered damaging wind gust. Couldn't rule out a water spout, maybe falling on the land here, or maybe making its way to land here, maybe a brief tornado. But I wouldn't expect anything super crazy from this right now. As we know, the weather can be full of surprises, and we'll still keep an eye on this, but this is definitely not going to be the main talking point of this video here. So with that being said, I guess we can move on. We still have that day 6 slight risk as well. Probably talk about that a little bit more tomorrow, maybe, or maybe on Friday, depending on how things progress with the models here. Trends are still holding on that, by the way. So like I said, got a lot to look in the in the future here, so to speak. But what we're more interested in is the wintry precipitation. And we've kind of talked about what could lie ahead here, and this is looking at tomorrow's outlook. This is towards tomorrow evening, my time. This would be OOZ, so this would be about 8 o'clock Eastern time. So you can kind of do the math from that point. 7, 6, 5, 5 all the way towards Pacific time at that point. But you can see that storm system that we've been talking about coming into play here. Seeing the Rockies starting to get into the action a bit more, and just south of the Rockies now we're starting to get higher probabilities of snow. Keep in mind, this is only looking at probabilities of up to 1 inch of accumulating snow. So as we continue to drag this forward here, it's not really moving too quickly to begin with, but as we go into maybe Friday morning, Friday afternoon, start to see some progression begin to occur here. And from that point, we'll start to see the probabilities kind of fluctuate a little bit. But by the time we get towards the 6th, especially towards the 7th, we'll start to see the probabilities return, especially more so over towards the Ohio Valley, towards the central part of the Appalachians into the northeast. So really, it's going to be around the 6th into the 7th, and right towards the end of this outlook here, or probability guidance here. You can see that increased probability starting to return over here towards the mid-Atlantic, and then eventually maybe even starting to work its way towards the coastal parts of the Northeast. So this could be a pretty significant winter storm here. Like I said, high confidence in at least 1 inch of snow. Nothing too out of sorts for these areas, but it could be something a little bit more noteworthy compared to what we have been seeing for a lot of us over here. So if we go to the model data here, we'll easily be able to see the storm. In fact, this is one of these features right here. And as we continue to go forward, this ends up starting to move off to the northeast a bit here. Kind of falls off for the moment, but that low starts to get reorganized as we head towards the evening. Now, the question with this outlook here based off the Euro is going to be, will this end up moving back a little further to the south? Because the thing with these low pressure areas is they tend to wobble a little bit, if you know what I'm saying. So it doesn't just go on a straight and narrow path. It sometimes will go this way or that way, deviate about maybe 10 to 20 miles here. So while we're getting into a little bit closer range here, I still wouldn't rule out maybe a little bit more in the way of activity over to the northeast, and also maybe a little bit more activity over towards maybe Michigan as well. Lake effect snow also I think will be a thing with this as well, but as far as the as far as where the significant totals will be, I'm still a little bit on the fence with it right now. You gotta love winter weather because there's a lot of uncertainty with the guidance there. Not necessarily the model's fault, but just more so just winter weather in general is very unpredictable, so to speak. Just the smallest of change here can really make life difficult, can really make things difficult as far as forecasting is concerned. So continue to go forward here. We can see that same storm system here towards the mid levels of the atmosphere. Not looking quite as impressive here, even though this is the same model run, albeit just at a slightly lower altitude that we're looking at. And that's something that I'm definitely keeping in the back of my mind here, because this, like I said, this is a newer model run. This is 18Z Euro, so we're actually up to date here in comparison whenever we look for the 12Z runs here and going to 240 hours. So from what I can see here, it's not quite as impressive as what I saw yesterday, but like I said, this is only one model. GFS is kind of held up with what we were seeing yesterday for the most part. Some very minute changes, but not enough to really show right now today. If needed be, I'll make an update video or a follow-up video tomorrow. But as we continue to go forward here, still, like I said, the potential's there for some snow, especially for lake effect snow towards Lake Erie here, Lake Toronto. But towards the northeast, I think there's going to be wintry precipitation, but maybe not as impressive as what we were seeing yesterday. And we'll kind of get a little bit further into the actual totals here. Pretty much nothing really to see here as far as the height anomaly is concerned. We know that cold air is going to be coming in force here across pretty much the entire country at this point. So this could be a pretty frigid weekend in general here, so to speak. But as we continue to go forward here, looking at the temperatures, not really going to be surprised, but we'll also kind of see a little bit of our culprit here as to why we're going to be struggling with some of that wintry precipitation here. We're getting some cold temperatures coming into Saturday here, but as time goes on here, as that low pressure starts to come into play here, there is a little bit of warm air that's trying to sneak its way into that area of low pressure. And I think that's going to help inhibit that potential for wintry precipitation here. We'll be just barely above freezing for some of these areas, but it's just going to be enough to where we may start out as rain and stay that way, especially over towards the Ohio Valley. Because at one point I was a little bit interested in the system maybe producing more wintry precipitation there, but it looks like towards the surface at least we're going to be dealing with above freezing temperatures. So we continue to drag forward here, and we go ahead and look at our dew points. With that cold air being in place, those dew points are low, and then also looking at the potential for severe weather as well. Like I said, there is some evidence of moisture return, but like I said, that large scale ascent is going to really keep things kind of hampered, so to speak. So like I said, I wouldn't really be too concerned with that. I think the moisture in the air is going to ultimately end up outrunning the cold, and it doesn't look like there's really a whole lot to work with in general too. So that could be another factor to store in the piggy bank, so to speak. So if we're looking at so another thing I want to make note of is the potential for wind gusts with this one, and it's not really going to be that impressive. I think the storm after this one may be much more prevalent here, but if we're over towards the southeast here, you could see some increased wind gust here along with those plummeting temperatures. So that's going to be something to make note of here. So if you got any firewood, maybe put on the fireplace. As we get towards Saturday night into Sunday, we off the coast here, we do get some pretty strong winds Could see a few wind advisories here towards Sunday morning, but this is not going to be a long duration event. The threat of blowing snow might be possible, but right now, like I said, it's nothing that is incredibly alarming at this current time as far as the wind gust. But I thought I'd at least touch base on things right here. Of course, I'm going to shift back to severe weather briefly. And like I said, for the most part, if you're not on the Gulf Coast, you're not going to really see too much in the way of thunderstorm activity. Some of this, even a large part of this activity, still seems like it's pretty offshore. So like I said, nothing to really be too concerned with here. And then overall here, as far as the precip map is concerned, you can pretty much kind of see where this is going at this point already. Like I said, most of that moisture, most of that cold air and that moisture interaction is going to be a little further to the north here. Do get some chance of precip towards the Ohio Valley, but a lot of that moisture just ends up kind of evaporating with that in that colder air. However, we do see a nice little snow shield here that does try to develop. So it could be a period of heavy snow, but this storm system is also moving so fast that you're just not really going to see a boatload of snow. You could see a couple inches here, especially as we get into that 90-hour mark. Maybe New York City, Boston could see an inch, maybe 2 inches, but it's nothing too far out of the ordinary for you guys. If we were to actually go ahead and take a look at the final totals for rainfall and snowfall, it's not like we're going to really be seeing a whole lot here. So here's a look at our precipitation here across the board. Like I said, nothing really crazy as far as quantity of precipitation. This is mainly going to be oriented towards rainfall here. A couple areas maybe we could see about 2 inches, maybe 3 inches. Outside of that, relatively light totals across the board here. It's really when we look at the wintry precipitation here where things get kind of interesting. And I am kind of surprised to see this here. There is and like I said, I did see potential for heavier snowfall here, but I think 6 inches plus is a little bit bold. But then again, there are some variables that have to be taken into account here. There is a particular feature with some of these wintry systems that come into play here. Right now, I can't really think of the name for whatever reason, but it does a lot for the potential for some higher snowfall totals here. So if we compare the Euro to the Canadian model usually tends to be pretty aggressive. This is towards the mountains, but based off of what the scenarios have been looking like, I kind of want to favor a little bit further. I'm kind of favoring this area a little further to the north here. But like I said, it's a lot of information to take in. There's still ensemble models that are coming in now, even talking about this. So this could turn into a 3-hour video easily. But like I said, I'm really kind of leaning a little further to the north here. I was kind of thinking interior, but we may be actually trending the other way here. It's just one of those things where we really aren't going to know until the last minute. The track of the low is going to be a huge factor in all of this. Not to mention with this active storm track that we have going on over here out west, the potential for heavy snowfall, especially towards the mountains, and then just south of the Rockies here, even towards New Mexico and Arizona. Some pretty impressive snowfall totals here. All the models here across the board are showing potential for 6 inches plus here. So we might actually have something here. But notice that all three of the tracks are different on all three model runs. Euro's kind of leaning a little bit further off to the northwest. The heaviest totals with the Canadian is further to the south and also a little bit further towards the coast. And then GFS is leaning more towards the coast and the mountains here. So like I said, a lot of flip-flopping around, so to speak, with this. Then if we go to the National Weather Service blend of models, which is a happy medium, I tend to usually go with this more. Even then, we're kind of jumping a little bit above that 2-inch mark now. We're starting to get into the 3 to 4 inch territory. It's my first time actually getting to look at this model here. But 3-4 inches seems very commonplace with the with the this particular model here. So I'm gonna probably go with that number here. Do see a little bit of a pocket right here where you could maybe get up to about 6 inches snow right here, just off of Lake Erie. And then over here, of course, towards northern New Mexico, we could have some higher totals here, maybe up to about 10 inches of snow possible. Not really surprising considering the congruency between the models there. That event, of course, is also closer too. Then, of course, toward the Sierras, impressive snowfall totals up to a foot, maybe more. Then further up to the north, even higher totals are possible there as well, maybe even up to 2 feet. And then, of course, across other parts of the Rocky Mountain range here, we could see some higher totals as well. So snow machine, it looks like it's going to be starting to take full effect here as we go into this weekend and time beyond that point. Best thing to do is stay tuned. I'm considering maybe even doing a winter weather stream. I don't know how that's going to look or how that will go, but if you want to see it, let me know in the comments, and if you got any suggestions for it, also let me know. But that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, found it useful. It's a little bit more lax on this one, but we'll have more videos coming soon with the weather pattern being more active. Till then, it's been Metalhead Weatherman. You guys take care and have a good night. See you soon.